in this 3,000-hectare city. We're also the motorcycle capital of the Philippines because we very much resemble Vietnam in terms of the number and the ratio of single motorcycles as to the human population. They say for every one motorcycle there is about 5 human beings. So that's a pretty awesome ratio. It's pretty weird. If you look around the campus, you'd see motorcycles parked in such a way as if they were being sold. We have a lot of Koreans here, and I've actually had a couple of Korean friends who approached me, and they were asking, are we selling these motorcycles parked outside? And I was like, no, they actually have owners. They're just parked there. But before that, this is Kuya Mo.
Yeah.
This is Kuya Mo. He's like the awesomest person in Silliman.
Welcome. Actually, I was in your school this past winter. And
Hi.
enjoy your stay. I hope some of you will come back to study here. Okay, you.
Thank you, Kuya. Yeah, so Dumaguete was named the City of Gentle People by our national hero, Jose Rizal. And basically, he was overwhelmed by the gentleness of the people because when he got here, the people actually went out of their huts to greet him with put and chocolate. Imagine that, a total stranger. No one knew him by then, but they went out of their huts, stopped everything, and just greeted him with put and chocolate. And those are our specialties here. Another couple or another group of people who were greeted with such were the Hibbers. The Hibbers were this missionary couple from New York, and they were tasked by the Board of Foreign Missions of the Presbyterian Church in Cohoes, New York, to come to the Philippines to put up a particular school for boys. They weren't really keen on putting up the school in Dumaguete. They were planning to put it up somewhere in Luzon. But then when they got to Luzon, the bishops of Manila made them come to Mindanao as far as possible from the metro so that their influence, because they were very Protestant, right? They were Presbyterian, wouldn't have as much impact as it would have been if they were far from the metro, right? So they were sent to Mindanao. When they got to Mindanao, Dapitan in particular, the people greeted them so warmly. In fact, they greeted them with cheers and with stones. The people in Mindanao actually picked up stones and threw it at the Hibbers when they got off the boat. That was how warm the welcome was. So they were so sad, they were so emotionally burdened by the fact that people here don't want to be educated. So when they got here to Dumaguete, when they were able to witness such welcoming, and tapos they were also able to witness the most beautiful sunset in the whole Philippines. Trust me, it's a Dumaguete sunset. Imagine the sun retreating behind 2 huge mountains, the Cuernos de Negros, the horns of the Negros Island. This was the sight which greeted them. Plus the welcoming of the people, the gentleness of the people, basically equated to them putting up the school here. They started with 15 boys, and after a year, it turned into almost 200. That's why they had to put up our first building in campus. That building over there will be a bit of trees, right? And the most prominent type of tree, or type of tree we have is the, what's this tree?
Acacia tree. Acacia.
This is the acacia tree. It's there particularly because it's one of the few trees that domesticated animals won't even try to eat. Right? In our Silliman song, we say where the palm trees tall and stately, wave the branches in the breeze. But you don't see a lot of palm trees here because when we started planting palm trees, the goats and the carabaos would actually come in the campus and eat them up. But you know that there's a certain toxin in the leaves of the acacia, right? Which stings the tongue of these animals, even humans. So basically, they were untouched. Most of these trees are around 80 to 90 years old. So you touch them, you touch history. Awesome? Yeah. And we have over 100, but less than 500 acacia trees in Silliman University. And one of your side tasks during my tour, and this is also part of my torture, you have to count the acacia trees. Awesome? And if you would be able to guess, or at least, if you'd be able to count the exact number of acacia trees, or at least guess, I'm going to give you pins. I have pins, if you want.
300?
Somewhere there, in fairness. So let's begin. Do you have any questions?
How many acacia trees are there?
Except for that. Questions? And this used to be our student center, but now it's been renovated. And finally, our registrar's office. It's very historical. A lot of people died there during the Second World War. There was police converted into torture chambers and gangs. And that's where we used to hang out. And before the walls were tainted with the blood of the murdered individuals. In fact, the last nun of St. Paul's or Charters was actually killed there during a raid. Floor biology, which is a center of development in biology. Third floor is physics, which is one of the few physics institutions, which has been given license to work on radioactive experiments. Now this particular building is a building that I really like to emphasize in this tour because it used to be a mission hospital. What are the components of a hospital? What are the rooms in the hospital?
Emergency room.
The morgue, guard, operating room. All those rooms are still present, not torn a single wall, and they've just been converted into classrooms and offices for the College of Education, which is a center of excellence in teacher education, and some offices for the College of Arts and Sciences. In fact, there's this one particular room there, which is considered as the most haunted room in Silliman. It's caged. Do you want to go there? Yes. Most of our buildings, existing buildings then, were turned into torture chambers and enemy garrisons, except for this particular building. This was already present during the Second World War, and it's a chapel. And during that time, we already had an international treaty as to the respecting of different spiritual and religious buildings. So this building was not touched. So basically, what the purpose of this building during that time was to be where wakes were being held. Imagine 6 to 10 wakes would be held at once in that building. And where do they bury the bodies? Right here. The parking lot. Now there's a story before that it was actually converted into a basketball court, right? But during the games, especially if people were already loud, the ball would go to places where it shouldn't be going, like different angles and stuff like that. Alright, our College of Nursing still, we're actually a center of excellence in nursing education. My favorite building. This is the
I thought you're going to America.
I cook a lot of good food there.
No, ma'am. I don't know. It depends on the people still come.
Take up yoga, take up dancing, and a lot of other types of sports where you move your body. Like, you can take it up here, baseball, basketball, football, tennis, badminton, ping pong. You get to choose. You get to choose swimming, advanced swimming, stuff like that. Snorkeling. I got snorkeling in my first year. And we went to like reef area, and it was so awesome. That's what's awesome with the PE department. You get to choose. So there's freedom. You get to choose to express yourself. You get to choose what you want to be. Right? And this is our library. This is the Robert B. and Meta J. Silliman Library. It's our main library. It's one of the biggest private libraries in Asia. Not because of the size of the building. It's only a 3-story building.
But because of number of
because of the
volumes.
number of volumes we actually have here. Acquisition are those already recorded. We have
Ano
around
sabi mo?
half a million.
Sabi mo?
So not acquisition, still in acquisition, still being recorded. We also have another 500,000. And we
Wow.
constantly replace old books with newer ones. And third floor we have the frame cross section. Oh my God, guys, wait! I forgot something. That dorm over there, the one with the pickety green window, that was the main torture chamber during the Japanese regime. And now is actually a women's dormitory.
Go.
Right? That tree, that huge acacia tree, that's called the death tree of Silliman. Yeah, they're in the middle because they used to hang the bodies, the corpse of the people who were tortured to death there, that tree. But that's also a fertility tree. Why is it a fertility tree? I am not allowed by government law to tell you. So this particular area is an exhibit area. It's really awesome. Are you guys into photography? Yeah, into photography, painting. How about sculpture? Sculpting. Yeah, this area is open to anyone who would like to exhibit their talents and skills. So it actually boils down to Silliman being holistic in terms of bringing up its students. So yeah, even if you're from the College of Engineering, you can be a painter and stuff like that. We actually have a painting course here. Yeah, a real course in fine arts. It's from the real parts of it, which we're actually here to tell you how beautiful the world is and how unique each country is in terms of their money. Yeah.
Given by Manila
Group called the Campus Ambassadors, and
Ah.
what our task is actually touring people around. And we've been institutionalized very recently, so we're very proud. Portrait, which is of Dr. Angel C. Alcala. Angel C. Alcala is the first ever SHED Commissioner of the Philippines. He served as the ENR Secretary, and he's really an awesome guy. He's super smart. Super strict. Yeah. Over there, we have the Silliman Spirit. We'll be able to pass by the real thing later. The Silliman Spirit is a gumamela which has the colors of Silliman University strategically positioned so that the red part would be enveloped by the white part. Those colors are of Silliman University, and that particular flower was genetically engineered by biology students of Silliman University as a gift for our centennial celebration. So an eternal gift. So now it's called the Silliman Spirit because it represents the core values of Silliman, which is passion and excellence and God-centeredness, and and the white part, purity and stuff like that. Our motto is Via Veritas Vita, the way, the truth, and the life. You know where that comes from, right?
Yeah, John 14:6.
Over there behind the pretty girl in squad is the Silliman debating team. Yeah, you. It was established in 1929, and until now it's still active. Debating is really awesome. Are you guys keen on debating?
You could say
You have debaters in your school, yeah. Actually tonight I'll be leaving for Iloilo because of a tournament, so pray for me. Anyway, our debating team is one of the oldest in Asia. And when we started out, since we were one of the first few debating teams in Asia, we were the best in Asia, right? So it's really awesome. Anyway, do you have any questions? Yeah.
How many years has the school been
It became a university in 1938, so please do the math. I'm not good enough. So that's around 72, 73 years. Yeah. We were the first ever institution given university status outside of Manila. So you have to clear things out, because if you go to Cebu, they'd say that they were the first ever university in San Carlos. Yeah, they were the first school, tapos they became a university, but we became a university first, although they were established first. And the trophy that the dude is touching, yeah, you dude. That's the trophy for the Miss Silliman pageant, the longest running campus pageant in the whole of Asia, and also critically acclaimed as the most prestigious campus pageant in the Philippines. It started out as a popularity competition in 1946, and all you had to do to become Miss Silliman was to become popular. So hard, right? So all they had to do to win popularity was actually stand in front of the Silliman Church. There is this amphitheater there, open theater, and all they'd have to do is stand there for a couple of hours. There would be someone lurking in the bushes who would be tallying the people who would clap for her. Right? People would gather around and clap for the person, and after a week of tallying, the one with the most claps became Miss Silliman. That's why the trophy's shape or form is actually two hands forming a clap and receiving a crown, because you'd have to be clapped at to receive a crown. And technically, they did not have a crown then. So it's symbolic, right? So yeah, but now we've transformed Miss Silliman into a speaking competition. In order to become Miss Silliman, you have to give 3 impromptu speeches in one night, 1 prepared speech, and you have to be prepared. You have to prepare yourself to be interpolated by a group of experts, which may include Dr. Angel C. Alcala, different justices of the Philippines, and other very, very significant public figures. Apart from the judges, yeah, so it's really, it's a very tedious process. And if you want to be Miss Silliman, you have to sharpen your English skills. I wake up 12. You're so special. You're so special. You're so special.